Hello, hello. So I actually have a call in 10 minutes, I think.
You do?
Yeah, about 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a break, 10 to
Okay.
10:15.
Come here. Do you know what we're talking about today?
No.
What?
No idea.
You don't know?
Yeah, no
Can
idea.
you guess?
Where's the?
No.
Where's the doc?
Cheat. You're cheating?
Where's the doc?
You're cheating?
Where's the doc?
We're talking about acne.
Yeah.
Again.
Yes.
Oh,
like wait.
Because a lot of people were asking us for a repeat.
That's great.
Because acne is such a thing.
Sorry.
Again, with the grating sound. I just don't think people enjoy that sound.
Why? I love it.
I don't think anyone loves it, Jess.
Why? Anyway, who's what? What are you doing?
So this is what's on YouTube. Hi guys, we're still testing, but basically when we do the pre-live, sometimes it's fun to get the kids in, also because they test my patience and set me up for any problems that might come. Teacher Nika's there.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm sorry we can't look at it.
Well, we can't. Well, there she is. See?
Yeah. Good morning.
So we're streaming live today from Facebook and YouTube instead of Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Gavin. That our kids got into.
There.
Beautifully
Sorry.
taught.
Too many tables.
Too many tables. So, have you been dealing with acne?
No.
Really? What is that?
That was a pimple that healed.
What do you think that pimple is?
Acne?
Yeah.
Yes, then it healed. It was acne, then it healed.
Yes, indeed.
It healed literally in a day. I was happy. I loved it.
It wasn't like Madison's, no? It was
Maddie was like, she still has it.
Does she?
Yeah,
it's
she
not
still
better?
has to put it. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What did I do? What did your mama do?
Uh-oh.
Hello? I can't see where we are. Wait.
Okay. Uh-oh. Laggy.
Yeah, the connection's gotten a little bit funky.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway.
Okay,
Paul,
see
I
what
have
happens?
to go in a
Audio
bit.
gets messed up when the mic is moved around.
Sorry. Go away.
Oh.
Talk to the
The
hand.
connection's bad.
Talk to the
I
hand.
hope it gets better.
Stop.
So we'll be starting in about 4 minutes. But yeah, Gavin was dealing with a little bit of acne, and that went away quickly.
Yeah.
What do you use? Do you remember the products that you used to prevent acne?
I did not use any. I just let it be.
What's your cleanser?
My cleanser, I forgot.
Does it look sort of like this, with the orange one?
That, I use that sometimes.
Yes, you can see that.
Let me.
Okay. So Gavin does not, okay. Gavin does not use that one in particular. It's a super skin care cleanser.
I use that one sometimes.
Isn't yours the orange one?
Mine is both that and the black one, the brown one or something.
Oh, the 1635, the shaving
Cream.
cleanser, yeah.
It's very nice.
Okay, and then do you use the toner already?
Toner, no.
You don't use that?
No.
You don't put it on?
No.
Ooh, that's why we're getting that.
Hey, it's healed.
I know, but it's going to come back. He's 10.
Yeah.
This is the beginning.
It's
will
57.
come.
Oh no, I am so nervous.
About what?
Because I have Filipino, and then I have a break.
Oh, you're nervous about school stuff?
Yeah.
You'll be fine. You will be
I have a
fine.
break at 10:15. No, 10. Then 10:15, I have a call.
So you won't be able to join us.
Sadly, I can ask for a break. Though.
But did you see that Madison's is so much better now?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Right?
Yeah,
compared to what it was.
Yeah. It was like a big red blimp.
It was really, really
Yeah.
one of the biggest nose cysts I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I've had some big ones myself.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, for cysts that big and boils, it really takes
time.
like 3 weeks for it to go away completely. So
Sorry,
I can share that tip later when we're up and running.
Da 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 da. Charge.
Okay, so I'll be starting in about 2 minutes, or we'll be starting in about 2 minutes, and then we'll give it just a few, minutes more for people to sign on and stuff.
Okay,
this is not approved skincare technique.
It feels good.
That is not to be done. Don't poke your face with a thing.
A thing?
Yes.
A tripod.
Just don't poke your face with stuff. Actually, something we might want to talk about later too is the brushes. The cleansing brushes.
Oh, I thought you meant like the blush. I thought you meant like the blush
bacteria.
and the makeup.
No, do you like that though?
Yeah,
it's fun, right? Have you been playing with my makeup?
No,
I've been messing with my brushes.
Yes, I've been doing.
Awesome. What do you like doing?
Just doing
which ones? Like
nothing. Just doing like that.
But like which colors? Do you know?
I don't use the colors.
Just use the brushes.
Yes, just the brushes. It feels good. It feels really
option. Good. That's the ultimate natural look, is to not actually use any makeup and just wipe the brushes on your face.
Yeah, feels really good actually.
Indeed.
So does this.
I'll do.
Ow.
Okay. Yet again, not good for your skin, banging on it with various instruments.
Hey, it's nice. It feels good.
Which leads me to the next point, where if you give yourself a bruise, red better can help sometimes.
Which leads me to the next point. What happens if you're sore in your hamstrings, or your arms, or your neck, or your back?
You can actually use red better to calm the heck down. First, the guide, the real rule. It's 9 a.m. Okay, hi everybody.
Bye.
We're going to start.
Bye.
Oh, you have to go? You have a call?
Yeah.
Dang it.
Bye.
I prefer having him here. So, okay. Hi everyone. It's 9 a.m. This is our Skinsights on acne again, because people have been asking us to repeat acne. It just keeps coming up in kind of polls and surveys and stuff, and our customer service. So we're going to be repeating the deep dive into acne with my mom, the dermatopathologist. Okay. And she'll be joining us in about 10-15 minutes. As usual, I will start with sort of VMV's approach to acne and the stuff that we offer for acne, and then my mom will come in and give us the dermatopathological angle or understanding of acne to help us, dive deeper into our pores, as it were. Okay. So yeah, I'll give it a few more minutes and then we'll start. But there, I hope everyone's well. We're broadcasting from Manila. It's a little sunnier today, which is nice because it's been a little bit gloomy the last few days. And to our friends in the States, hello. Hope you're having a good evening. What a week. Okay. Let me see. Actually, you know what I can do too? I'll post that we're going live. So yeah, we'll wait a few minutes and then Let me do this. All right. We're about to go live on YouTube and Facebook for VMV Hypoallergenics. We're all set up. We're going to be talking about acne again, so join us. Okay. All right. So yeah, please remember to write in your questions. What tends to happen sometimes is people get really enthralled with my mom's explanations of acne and treatments and whatnot, and questions come in later. So there's sort of a mad rush for us to try to get your answers in before the end of the hour. So please definitely get the your questions in earlier. Yes, dear. Okay. I I have like a backseat driver over here. Oh my gosh. Okay, so my kids are both saying hi. Everyone's saying hi to everybody. We're going to be talking acne today. Sam Wise, I don't know if you're watching, but Sam Wise is one of our beautiful friends and brilliant sort of women talents, and we shot her a few years ago, and it was awesome, and she's in London now, so hi. Okay, guys, it's 9:04. I think we can get started. Every do of VMV and what we do for acne, and then my mom, the dermatopathologist, founder of VMV, will come in and dive deep into our pores, as it were, to help us really understand, even from a microscopic level, what goes on with acne. But for for right now, yeah, I'll discuss some of the stuff that VMV does for acne. And it's actually a really personal thing for me because when I was young, that was my big issue, was acne, and I had it kind of all over. And it was so bad that I would lie about who my mother was. I would say she was a neurosurgeon and not a dermatologist because I looked, in my opinion, so awful. And my acne was, I mean, this is how joyful it was. I had several different types of acne. I had kind of the typical sort of comedonal acne, and then I had, acne that needed bacterial treatment. And then I had really big cysts that would happen on the cheeks and the nose. And then I had sort of sprinkles of acne here and on my cheeks and on my back and my chest and my arms. So that was the fungal acne, which is called pittosporum folliculitis, and actually apparently is now more correctly called Malassezia folliculitis. And so I was actually one of the first study volunteers for id monolaurin, this puppy right here. So when I was young, I don't know if you could see that. There you go. When I was young, this didn't exist, and people were starting to understand that this fungal condition of sweat acne was actually fungal, not bacterial. So I would have to sit in the bathroom caked in anti-dandruff shampoo, which is an antifungal. And so I would, be really blue, sort of figuratively and literally caked in this dandruff shampoo and burning because it was really uncomfortable. So I was really, really grateful that this thing got invented, and it's still part of my daily routine. So VMV being what it is, our main approach to acne is really prevention first. There's nothing like preventing a problem before it happens. It's always, always better than treating it. So the first thing we do is talk about keeping pores unclogged. The clogging of pores is what creates comedones, and the ensuing inflammation, which can come from irritation or infection, then becomes acne. So we consider all of these things in our acne preventive products, right? It has to be non-comedogenic, but also non-acnegenic and hypoallergenic, so as to not irritate the pores and cause infection. I'm not entirely well. I'm sorry. the anti-inflammatory is the non-acnegenic, right? To prevent acne happening. So the first thing we want to say is, whenever people come to VMV and say, what can I use for my acne? One of the first things we ask is, where is it? If it tends to be in the forehead, cheeks, the upper back, we always go first to, what are you washing your hair with? Because comedogens and allergens and such can trickle down onto skin, especially with sweat. So we would totally recommend Essence Superwash and conditioner, just to make sure that you're not exposing your skin to more comedogens than it needs to be. And then we'd recommend, obviously, non-comedogenic makeup. And then we go to, say, a very basic kind of regimen, which would include, for example, this, which I showed earlier with Gavin, which is the spring cleaning, this is so awkward, scrub for oily skin. But actually with my kids, we started with the dry skin version of this, and then the one for combination skin. We didn't go straight to the oily skin one. And then the toner, which I still use to this day. These are all sort of my personal stocks, by the way, because, stocks are low. So I want to make sure we don't take any products from anybody. I use the Super Skin 3 and have since I was, 10. My sister as well. She was about 10 years old. And I also use the ID toner. So what we tend to tell people is, if you're just sort of starting out with acne care or anti-acne care, we would recommend the Super Skin Care regimen. And that would be the cleanser or the scrub, the Super Skin toner, the moisturizer, and the sunscreen. And the sunscreen is really important to prevent hyperpigmentation, those dark scars from acne that we sometimes get. And then if you're important to share. The reason why this toner is so wonderful, the Super Skin Toner, is it has both mandelic acid and monolaurin. And mandelic acid is wonderful, especially for kids. Like my kids started on this anti-acne regimen when they were 9. And it's great for prevention. And mandelic acid, because the molecules are bigger than other AHAs, alpha hydroxy acids, it tends to sit on the skin more. A classic rule of hypoallergenicity is the bigger the molecule, the gentler, the less likely to be allergenic. But it's extremely effective. The formulation for this product used to be retinoic acid and clindamycin. And we stopped that in part because you can be more irritated, but probably more importantly because we wanted to make sure not to overuse antibiotics, because it's a real problem. And among other things, you see an increasing resistance to treatment. So the new formulation that was introduced several years ago now is monolaurin and mandelic acid. We did a clinical study comparing the two blinded, and as effective, far less irritating, and deals with more types of acne. So it's pretty cool. And then monolaurin, as you know, has studies since the 1970s published in peer-reviewed journals all around the world on its efficacy as an antimicrobial. And that includes antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. So it's a really, really lovely active to have in there. And it's soothing, too, so it's not irritating. If the acne is more stubborn or widespread, we'd probably recommend ID. I tend to use actually Super Skin and ID. So this is the ID toner that I use, right? And I use that when I apply it, I cotton. Philippines, and a special that we currently have online is what we call the Skin Calming Bundle, because obviously acne and stress are really related. Stress is very inflammatory. Acne is inflammatory. So, yeah, it's a great thing. We have a lot of products in this little kit that's awesome, and they're all monolaurin, VCO, calming. That's on vmvhypoallergenics.ph. And then we're having a flash sale in the Philippines as well, August 14 to 16, on lip glosses at 40% off. And then, speaking of lip gloss, in the United States, on vmvhypoallergenics.com, we have a giveaway, like a nice gift of a really pretty pink lip gloss called Smack. It's one of our more popular colors, and I think it's great just to lift the mood and sort of add a pop to video calls and whatnot. And then we're going to be having a flash sale of 15% off for Illuminance products. So we're talking about dark acne scars. This is sort of a great opportunity, I think, to address that. With my mom or any call my mom in on a nice tip. If you have a very, very large, inflamed, painful cyst, acne, you can try this trick. The very first day you do a cold compress. So first you put VCO, virgin coconut oil, on I'm doing this because my daughter just recently went through it. Virgin coconut oil right on the cyst to soften sort of the outer shell of it. And then you do a cold compress. You can do like a clean, soft, white cloth and wrap ice around it and just hold it on top of the lesion for about 5 to 10 minutes, 3 times a day or so, 3 or 4 times a day. And then after that, put Red Better Spot Corrector, then Boo Boo Balm, then sunscreen. And then every day after that, you switch from a cold compress, because the cold compress stops the inflammation. Now what we want to do after the first day is move to a warm compress. So what you would do is you would take a clean cloth, you would fill a cup, let's say, with clean, ideally distilled warm water, and you would do the same thing. You'd put virgin coconut oil on the lesion, then you would dip the cloth in the warm water and hold it for like 5 to 10 minutes, 3 or 4 times a day. And after that, you would apply the Red Better Spot Corrector, like boils. It will take a while. It takes like 2 to 3 weeks to go away. So yeah, I think it's a great little tip to end on. Okay, I will go get my mom, who is supposed to join us. Hold on, let me make sure I know where she is. Oh, I'm also hearing we're having connection problems. Sorry. I hope that gets better. Oh, hi. Come on in.
Put this here.
Okay.
Paraphernalia. Paraphernalia? Hi. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Okay, let me just make sure I have... What is going on?
You're having a hard time?
No, we just had some funky technical things happening. Okay. All right. So
Put this on because it's really bright.
Hello. My teacher gave me a quick rest break, so I'm just hello.
This
And
is my
goodbye.
mom, his grandmother. Clinician and lecturer, and being a dermatopathologist, she has a deeper understanding of the skin and has also authored some really important studies on acne, actually, and monolaurin. And I remember back in the day, way back in the 70s, she did a nice study on a birth control pill, actually, and acne, right, with a gynecologist. It was really cool. So yeah, so I think she's a great resource for our topic today, which is acne part 2. So yeah, say hi to everyone.
Hello, everybody. Nice seeing you here again.
Okay.
You must pardon me for the glasses, but it's kind of bright.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining.
My mother is way cooler than I am. It's basically what the thing is. So, starting with acne.
Okay.
Let's start with the basics again, because again, people are asking. Oh, okay. We could just do that. So, what are the different types of acne?
The different types of acne is based upon the way that it looks.
Mm-hmm.
So, if there are 4 kinds of lesions in acne. One's called comedones. Then there's the papules, then the pustules, and the nodules and cysts. And then lastly are the scars, of course, that come from it. So if the acne is mostly the whiteheads and blackheads, these are tiny little duct-like things which are not quite inflamed yet, appearing anyway. That's called comedonal acne.
Okay.
And with the
And
bigger
that's from
papule,
something that blocks the pore, basically.
yes. Basically, what acne is it's a problem of the what we call the pilosebaceous, meaning the sebaceous gland.
Pilosebaceous.
Pilosebaceous.
Word of the day. Points if you can spell it.
Of which we have plenty in the face, and in the face in particular, these follicles have large oil glands that become stimulated as you go into adolescence. Separate they become bigger, produce more oil, and then that sets the motion of what we call a hyperkeratinization, a thickening at the pore of the hair follicle. And with that, bacteria come in, Propionobacterium acnes.
Okay, so it's actually not just an overproduction of oil that we're looking at, is that
it's a series of things.
It's a series of things, including a thickening, right?
Yes.
Of the wall.
Okay. Which produces the comedone.
There you go.
I want you all to know that we will be talking more about acne and the treatments. But there really are studies that even before that comedone, the whitehead, blackhead that's not quite inflamed yet, even before that appears, investigators have done biopsies, actually, of the skin without any inflammation at all. No comedones, no papules, pustules, whatever. And they find that there's already inflammation of the pilosebaceous.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very interesting, leading to what are possibly causes for the inflammation to occur, and then for the inflammation to trigger the series of events that follow, particularly in adult acne, which is almost as common, if not more common nowadays, than the adolescent acne.
Yeah. So to double down on that, right? So there are a few things that happen with acne. It's not just clogging of the pores, right? There's a thickening of the walls. There is inflammation that happens, and potentially infection. So it's sort of a little bit more multifactorial than I think, because I think historically people would be like, oh, my skin is oily. That's why I have acne. And that's not the only thing at play, right? The other thing is, if I'm not mistaken, it's not just bacteria, right? We can have fungal. The thing is, though, about the fungal stuff, it's not real acne, it's folliculitis, right? What is the difference between an acne and folliculitis?
Folliculitis specifically says inflammation of the hair follicle, whereas acne, like I told you, is a series of events that occur following in adolescence, following the surge of hormones that make us from the little boy to the young boy, the little girl to a teenager and on. So those are hormonal primarily. Then as adolescence, as it progresses and then you go into adulthood, so many other factors contribute towards the formation of acne. Folliculitis is different. Folliculitis is just an inflammation of the hair follicle. And that, on the other hand, can be due to several other things. Like I mentioned, the bacteria, Propionobacterium acnes, is what causes and contributes towards the inflammation of acne in younger people. As adults come, there are many causes of folliculitis, and it's not really acne. It's just folliculitis. For instance.
But it looks like acne.
It looks like acne.
Right.
And it occurs not just on the face, but the chest, sides of the neck, the back in particular.
Right.
And that can be caused by sweating.
Mhm.
Sweating is one of the factors that produces folliculitis and what we call malassezia. I love the name better than pityrosporum.
Yeah.
Malassezia
Folliculitis.
folliculitis.
But it's not like the sweat causes it. It's that there's this fungus. So our skins, like our whole bodies, have a happy balance of microbes, right? Our microbiota. Come in, Madison. This is my daughter.
Hi,
My
I am popping in because I have a break from school.
Perfect. And we're talking.
So, yeah.
And
And
she
we're
has
also-
beginning acne.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
actually,
Oh my
she
God.
was dealing with the hugest cyst on the
And
tip
then
of
now
her
I have
nose.
a painful thing right here at my...
Yeah, so welcome to adolescence. So she's dealing with that and inflammation.
My sunglasses.
I know. And Madison is a little like me, that when I'm about to get sick, I get inflamed, and then I usually get like a big cyst, usually in my nose, so that tends to come. So that's kind of the things to look out for. It's not like everything that looks like acne is acne. It isn't. It could be comedones, just clogged pores. It could be inflamed follicles, which is folliculitis, which looks a lot like acne, but actually isn't and requires a different treatment. And then when cysts, these huge cysts, very inflamed things happen, that's from hormones primarily, or?
It can be from hormones, like hormones of stress, common nowadays because of COVID.
Exactly.
And it can be from gram-negative folliculitis, is what we call it, because there are lots of resistant organisms, especially the gram-negative ones, that can organisms and gram-positive as well that have become resistant to the usual antibiotics that you are being given, and so they can colonize the hair follicle uh, affected by acne, the factors that I was telling you about. But when they colonize a follicle, they can now produce a folliculitis that can lead to big cysts and a little abscess, actually, that you must go and immediately ask for the proper antibiotic. Usually I do a culture just to be sure about the organism and give the right antibiotic. So there's no delay in giving the right antibiotic by doing a culture.
Definitely. The thing is now, of course, in COVID, this is a little more complicated, right? So again, probably the best thing you can do right now is prevention, more than anything. And actually, what I find interesting is a lot of the acne now, as she was saying, is adult acne, and it can also be exacerbated by all of the whole COVID situation, right?
Oh yeah, adult acne we define as beyond the age of 25, especially boys or men. You know, they they grow old a little bit slower. They mature a little bit slower. So anyway, don't object. And so after the age of 25, there's continuing acne in many people nowadays, and they can be because of stress as well, that is hormonal, and then also because of all the other factors, in particular during COVID times. Like I told you, the population or the colonization of the hair follicle, the skin in the face in particular, and other parts that are exposed can be can react to the strong chemicals that we are exposing for killing here. So there's a lot of sprays, disinfectants.
And how can that cause acne, disinfectant?
It can produce acne. It can produce actually a folliculitis.
There you go.
So I see a lot of folliculitis, tiny little dot-like spots. Is usually how they begin. They're not, you know, when acne by its very nature comes in different sizes and shapes. Like I said, it starts as a comedone, then develops papules. Then there's a grouping of comedones, papules, pustules, and then eventually you may have cysts. But in these kinds of folliculitis, they usually start out as tiny dot-like things that people tend to ignore. And then they come because of the little bit of inflammation that occurs around those little follicles. Those are really a form of folliculitis. It's secondary to colonization by an innate organism that's also within our hair follicles by nature. So besides what we were talking about of the Propionibacterium acnes, there's a fungus there.
Propionibacterium acne.
It's the primary bacteria
Okay.
that invades and then...
So we've learned today, boys and girls, Malassezia used to be called Pityrosporum, is the fungus that tends to cause sweat acne, right? Or folliculitis, right?
It's really a folliculitis.
It's really a folliculitis, not an acne. And
then there's an organism, a mite, called Demodex.
No, the acnes first.
Propionibacterium acnes.
Propionibacterium acnes is the primary bacteria that is at play for true acne. On top of this, another thing that can cause acne are mites. So yet another microbe, which is why it's so important to get your acne properly diagnosed. One acne treatment may not work for a fungal acne or a mite acne. And the mite is called Demodex. Demodex.
You like that name,
I do. It's actually really cute. I've seen a close-up of the mite. And I know it's gross to think of mites on our skin, but this is healthy for us. It's Demodex, right?
It's a mite.
Right.
Tiny little one.
So it requires a different treatment also. That happens. Okay.
Right.
The other thing that's sort of become popular in COVID is maskne, right? Which is from?
The wearing of the mask.
Right.
Because there are several factors that contribute.
There you go. Why? Why do masks cause acne?
Number one is the occlusion, the breathing in and out, the heat, the sweating, all of those factors. Plus, the mask itself has antibiotics or antimicrobials that they put in there. I'm not quite sure what they all are, because they vary a lot between the manufacturers and all, but there's an antimicrobial they put in there. So you add all of those factors up and you get thank you. Sure. You add all of those factors up and you therefore get irritant, contact dermatitis, maybe an allergic contact dermatitis, perhaps even a photosensitive chemical like the chlorines. They are very allergenic. And whatever they put into the Lysols or to the fragrance that somehow people like to add to the alcohol, I know.
So the interesting thing for me here is to double down on a few, I think, misconceptions. Number one, that acne is only caused by things that clog the pores. This is not the case. Acne, as we've learned, can be caused by several things. Hormones leading to the thickening of this inner wall, can be caused by fungus, particular fungus that runs rampant because it feeds on sweat.
Can be mistaken for
acne. It's not actually acne. It's a folliculitis. Can be caused by mites and can be caused by irritants and allergens in masks and things that we're using. So here's a key thing I want to double down on, and we did this in the last talk, but I think it's important. When people say non-comedogenic, that's just one thing. Non-acnegenic is another thing. And a lot of people, for example, with virgin coconut oil is a favorite example out there, think that coconut oil is comedogenic, and it isn't. But this is based on a lot of sites that tend to use as their reference really old studies that were inconsistent at their time and have since been disproven consistently by doctors with newer studies. The older studies were also done on rabbit ears, and the newer ones are done on human skin in actual use conditions. So when you're looking at claims for non-comedogenicity, what ingredients are comedogenic or not, try to make sure you're looking at the newer studies. Dr. Drelos et al., these are the newer studies that are more replicated and more consistent versus the older studies from the 70s on rabbit ear assays.
That's right.
This is important. We have Jean.
May I add on to that? The other thing that I'd like to
They're
add.
here for you.
I'd like to add is that another cause for complicating the entire picture of acne is besides those chlorine and other chemicals that are in the air, as well as you touch it and you apply it on your face, or you put it in your hands and then you touch your faces. Those are one important factor that can prolong acne or lead to folliculitis, okay? In addition to that, most of us doctors prefer to use first the topical treatments for acne before going into antibiotics. Antibiotics were the mainstay years ago, and you'd give it for years. And now we're trying to prevent that, protect it, use it only for a very short time. So it's basically topical. What are the topical treatments? Well, they are irritants of the skin as well. There's benzoyl peroxide, terrific medication, but if used too much, it can be an irritant on the skin. Or if it's mixed with other chemicals like the retinoids, more of an irritant. And not only that, they both can be photosensitive chemicals in the skin. Now, antibiotics also are another source. Topical antibiotics, they can give you an allergy as well to the antibiotic itself, as well as to being exposed to sunlight because you've been cooped up too much inside during COVID and they'd love to be out in the sun. And you're being advised anyway to be outdoors as much as possible to drive away those droplets. So there are many things to consider, and I think the basic message I'm really trying to drive at is if you have acne that is persistent, that keeps on going, no matter what, you really have to work with your dermatologist.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's not a one-time thing.
Yeah.
They too have to be sleuths. They have to be detectives in trying to find out among all
cause,
of these things that we just mentioned, what is the thing that drives this acne?
Yeah.
Okay?
So a few things to sort of double down here. Again, we mentioned acne isn't just hormones, isn't just oily skin, isn't just the thickening of the keratin walls, isn't just sweat, isn't just a mask. It's several potential things. So we always have to approach it with prevention. We have a question here from Jean Olga, which we'll get to in a second. But I did want to add also that some of the things that are meant to help acne can actually cause further irritation, as she mentioned, and worsen the problem. One thing here I want to share is there's a condition called steroid acne.
Yes.
So if you use steroids a lot, because I had it and I remember that hell. It was hell. And steroid acne is, it's awful because arguably you're using the steroid for another skin condition that is problematic, right? And with continued use, then you now risk having steroid acne. So it's yet another reason to get off of steroids as a regular thing. Steroids are important and fantastic for short-term emergency use with the guidance of your dermatologist, but they are not for long-term use. If you're using them, especially over large swaths of skin for years, we need to talk to help you get off of them.
Continuing on the steroids, there's so many side effects on the skin when you just application. Steroids have fluorides as a rule in the making of its in the making of it. So there's a flu somewhere there in its chemistry. Fluorides are halogens. Fluorides produce halogen acne.
Oh, that's the other thing.
So you can get halogen acne.
Halogen acne can come from a lot of halogens. So fluoride, chloride, bromides, iodides, salty foods.
Okay.
Toothpaste with fluoride, steroid with fluoride.
Plus it thins the skin. Yeah. And with the thinning of the skin, what happens? Organisms, bugs in the air come in and can produce that additional folliculitis.
Yay!
And the skin stings like mad after a long time of using the steroids. So there are so many side effects that used properly, like Laura was saying, is terrific. But don't overuse it. 2 to 4 weeks, give it up.
Okay, so the first question, we're going to go into the best way to prevent I actually wanted to get to a comment earlier about, I used to have acne-prone skin, although I don't get acne anymore because I think I got older. What's the best way to prevent having acne for acne-prone people? First, I want to clarify, as she was saying, age doesn't necessarily mean less acne. In fact, they're seeing now in the dermatological community more and more and more people with adult acne, either returning or people who've never had acne before all of a sudden having to deal with it, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of preventing it, we always say talk to your dermatologist because you need a proper history to figure out what might it be.
Yes.
And it can be any of these things like products that you're using, which clog the pore, and then you can look at those ingredients and see what those are. It can be allergens or irritants, from disinfecting materials or certain creams for cause inflammation, then infection, etc. It can be steroids that you're using, certain antibiotics that you're using. It can be toothpaste that you're using. It also depends where it is on your face and body. It could be sweat folliculitis, sweat related. So we kind of need to get to the cause first. So then you know how to prevent the acne from coming back.
Especially in adults, young people as well, in addition to what Laura was saying. So far, we've just been talking about the topical causes of acne, the topical treatments and causes of acne that can contribute to more acne. But there are also internal problems that can cause acne. In this day and age when there's so much depression going on, and there's so much mental stress, when you take antidepressants, many of those are acnegenic.
That's true, neurological drugs.
Right, neurological drugs are acnegenic, and several other drugs out there can produce acne, including antibiotics for, let's say, TB, tuberculosis, which is, as we all know, on the rise in many places of the world. So you have to be careful and always contribute all of these factors when you go back to your dermatologist if you have a persistent, recurring acne. And besides that, menstruations, are they regular? Are you having problems with it?
She actually had a patient that was really interesting because she had come to see her for her acne, and because of the investigation and the history taking and certain observations clinically, she really suspected that the problem might have been hormonal and worked closely with her gynecologist to actually identify what it was. Sometimes your doctors need to work together for this. And a dermatologist gets to see a lot of the manifestations on the skin before a blood test can show it. So they're extremely valuable for sussing out other potential problems as well.
Remember, your dermatologist actually can very often diagnose what you have inside by the way your skin is reacting to the presence of that problem inside, whether it's a thyroid gland problem or a pancreas or the adrenal gland that's problematic.
Thyroid,
So
it's important. Okay, another question also from Jean, is VCO a good moisturizer for oily and acne-prone skin? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's non-comedogenic and it's antimicrobial, so it's fantastic.
It really is.
And it's also, a lot of the people that we see sometimes have extremely, they're very acne-prone and then very irritated also because they're over-treating or using treatments that are so irritating on the skin. So VCO helps soothe, bring all of that inflammation down without causing more acne. We have Leslie is asking for my tita. Wait, let me ask this first. They're asking for my tita. Can I put concealer on top of my pimples? Depends on the concealer. Is the answer.
Yes, depends on the concealer.
Depends on the concealer. If it has, and a concealer without any allergens and irritants
and
heavy waxes, comedogens, absolutely, of course you can. But if your concealer has fragrance, irritants, photoallergens, which might cause the acne lesion to get dark, then no, don't use it. But it kind of depends. I have a lovely question here from Siege Paz. What causes acne and how can I prevent it? That's what we were saying earlier.
Okay.
More likely than not is malassezia, folliculitis.
More often, or a very common cause anyway, is from sweating. You're exercising, you didn't turn on the aircon, you wanted to save money, you therefore exercise with
or you just sweat a lot. I sweat a lot. I'm a sweater.
True, my God.
I sweat. So maybe you're just like me.
Right.
So the thing about...
Then I've also seen patients who have a contact dermatitis in the back, lying down too much, foam pillowcase or foam mattress, or the irritant, they're using already chlorine in all of the things you're using for antiseptic of surfaces, and then using a laundry soap with lots of chlorine also, so that it smells like chlorine and smells good and really disinfected. Well, the chlorine is also an irritant. So with long use and constant irritation and scratching of the back and all, you can also get a secondary colonization by the fungus, which likes to live, I think, in the sweat.
Yes. So this fungus feeds on sweat. So when there's an overproduction of sweat, the balance of the microbes gets a little unbalanced, and so the sweat-hungry fungus kind of goes nuts, and they clog the follicles, and that causes this folliculitis that looks like acne. So what we would normally recommend is first make sure that your shampoo and conditioner don't have comedogens, acnegens, allergens, irritants, and then look at something like monolaurin, which is a great thing you can apply for various types of organisms to deal with that on the back. And then it also is cooling, so that helps also with the sweat issue.
May I just suggest at this point, it's not an acne, but it's the fact that a lot of people nowadays really use strong alcohol with perfumes in it or fluorinated things on their skin, irritating things.
Not on their skin necessarily, like cleaning.
And then they develop, therefore, these red marks and itchy and reddish rashes on the hands, the elbows, the arms, the face. May I suggest, get yourself a really, really good quality coconut oil, because it is a fantastic
antimicrobial,
antiviral, and
not irritating,
that you can use. And the nice thing about it is you can use it just twice a day, and your skin is protected. Your nose, the inside of your mucosa of your nose is also protected. You can even inhale it like an Ayurvedic kind of a procedure. And you can gargle with it and all, and it will protect you. It will not irritate you. You end up with skin that actually feels fantastic.
And I like that question.
Resistant to the usual antibiotics. And by doing that yourself, you're irritating it some more, actually may push some bacteria that doesn't want to respect any of the other antibiotics. So you have
and then we have MRSA to deal with. No, don't be injecting other things there.
There's now MRSA. There's even a methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus epidermidis, and a very simple organism in the skin that people have become resistant to, or to other, and virus. So virus-resistant organisms,
so
fungus-resistant
organisms. Let's not mess with that. So if I'm gonna take a stab here and say, if you are at home and asking, I have pimples and they have pus and whatever, it's best to leave it alone. It's not good to kind of do it yourself and try to extract.
Thank you for answering. I went on my own angle.
With your doctor, though, they might decide that extraction is better. Certainly facials are a great way to kind of get all that gunk out that might be building up and before it really erupts into a mega infection. The key here too, though, is when you have large cysts, sometimes you can do steroid injections to bring them down very quickly. Where that is never advised is very large cysts on the nose, which brings us to another topic, because my daughter just went through this nightmare. If you have a huge cyst in the nose area, it's more cause for concern than you might think. There's a very thin connection between the nose and the brain. And so all this talk about not risking infection spreading is doubly important for lesions around and in the nose. So don't pop. A dermatologist probably will not inject it in the nose because they don't want to push that infected matter up. You want to get, like the warm compresses with VCO and whatever, you want to get blood flowing to the area to flush it out naturally and get it away from the brain, which is important. I have an important question here. Is from Anna Melissa. Is acne and pimples, are they the same thing?
Yes. Pimples is a common name. Acne is our medical term.
There you go. And remember, there are different types of acne, sort of depending how they look, what they're from, and how they grow. Comedones, folliculitis, which is not actually an acne, it's just a clogging of the follicle, and acne itself. So there.
You want to talk about my patient last night?
Oh, from the phone. Interesting. This is
interesting. A little bit. Okay. She is from New York. Okay. She had a pimple-like thing on the ear, right? And so We were all looking at it and said, oh, okay, it's a cyst maybe, or it's a cellulitis, or it's something else. Then I really took a good look at it and I said, but that's weird. You have it here, but if you look beyond on the face itself, there's an area that's dark and red. And if I look even more closely, I notice that it has an almost rectangular shape there. I said, let me see the left side of your face. There was nothing. Oh, okay. So it's only there. Yes, this is about 5 years ago. And this one's about, 10 years ago. And now I'm having it on my finger also. Anyway, so I asked her to show me a picture of her telephone and what was the cover of the telephone. Short story, we were able to find out that very likely, and we will only prove this later when you do a patch test on her, she's probably sensitive to either the dye or the cover of her phone or the material it's made of. Because the previous cover of her previous telephone was also red. This one is now black. So maybe a mild allergy, but enough that over time, together with the occlusion, because you could see it was darker here where she would press it.
So there's many possible causes
Yes.
for your acne, is what you're saying. It could be a pillow, it could be your phone, the mask certainly, something you're wearing. Ay nako, headbands or hats or whatever, like a turtleneck like this, if it's here. This is why doctors are invaluable to me. Dermatologists are like sleuths. They're like the Dr. House of the medical world. From Erica again, foaming cleansers, are they bad for acne-prone skin? Should we stick to ones that are unscented and don't bubble up? So first, stick to unscented, absolutely. Second, bubbling is sort of irrelevant into skincare, really, and to cleansing. Bubbling is more of a, yay, I feel clean, but it doesn't actually clean you. Remember our ancient Romans and Chinese and whatever used to cleanse their skin with oil, which doesn't bubble at all. So the foaming isn't necessarily the best guide for your cleanser.
Cleopatra bathes in olive oil.
And milk. So, it's not the foaming that's important. What is important is that unscented, absolutely. Just make sure it's really unscented, because it might say unscented and contain things like cinnamic alcohol and benzyl alcohol, which are fragrance. So you have to be careful. No allergens, no comedogens, no irritants are more important. And the other thing that I want to share here, too, I think you'll back me up here very much. When you get a scrub, not a foaming cleanser. So foaming cleanser is fine. Gentle is fine. Just not comedogenic, right? But if you use a scrub, don't go nuts. Don't scrub like you're trying to get to God. I don't know, like don't scrub to remove your sins. It's really gentle, just a few seconds at a time, because you can further irritate the skin and cause more acne. And on a similar note, those cleansing brushes that are so popular? Oh, not a great idea.
Not a great idea.
For the same reason, you can encourage irritation. Plus, you can spread bacteria. You can spread microbes and actually cause more infection around the skin. Gwen, what could be causing acne on the forehead?
Bangs.
Bangs, your shampoo, your conditioner, your gel, your mousse, very common.
Because when you perspire, it comes down.
Exactly. So I would look at what do you use that comes into contact with this area, and look at switching to a non-comedogenic, non-acnogenic, everything for the hair, and maybe stop the styling products for a while. Okay. Any specifics to take note in using VCO? Should it be lightweight or doesn't matter?
Lightweight.
Lightweight, but
it is naturally lightweight.
That's why.
It may not be coconut oil. It may be because coconut oil has become so popular nowadays. We're actually on the lookout now for fake coconut oil, in the sense that people are now adulterating. That's the word I'm looking for. Have adulterated coconut oil where they add cheaper oils to the original coconut oil, and those may have different kinds of specific gravities. But so therefore, what you do is looking to products. You always look at the labels. Back to my constant reminder to everybody: please look at labels. Don't just look at how nice it is packaged or anything. Just look at the labels and read, and you can more or less guess how good the company is from the way they express what they're trying to say to you in
So for coconut oil, oil specifically, I know she's going to say this, for cooking, any coconut oil is better than any oil on the market, period. So even, you know, copra, like RBD oil. RBD stands for refined bleach deodorized. This is the cheapest coconut oil under the sun, which heats it, and it's extracted with heat or chemicals, right? Even that is better than any other oil in the market for food. It's anti-inflammatory, it's good. But for your skin, she will absolutely recommend pure virgin coconut oil, no additives whatsoever, which also means no heat used in the extraction and no chemicals used in the extraction, not even physical centrifuge, nothing. As pure as possible, as straight from the oil, from the nut as possible, cold pressed and organic. So you're sure nothing else is in the soil that could be a problem. That would be her marker for the best virgin coconut oil to use for your skin, more than the weight, because it's all lightweight.
I would just like to add that in that regard, doctors used to, we used to just ignore diet. Diet is diet.
God, yes, so important for acne.
But in recent years, in recent years, we doctors have begun to really study the diet and how it affects inflammation in the skin. So one of these days, I'd like to, if you like, we can discuss
on nutrition,
the anti-inflammatory diet.
Oh, nice. So here's the thing. She actually did a wonderful. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say about this yet because it's still sort of ongoing and in publishing. But an anti-inflammatory diet really helps your skin, and they've proven it now through. Already know we're not supposed to be eating, right? Chips and junk food and sodas, all these things, but also white rice, white pastas, white bread, white sugar. All of these things are pro-inflammatory. Too much red meat, right, as opposed to fish, right? Really oily fishes, sardines and stuff like that. If you have an anti-inflammatory diet, you can really, really help your skin and your acne, because acne is inflammatory. Okay. A nice question here about zinc from Sheila. Is zinc as an oral supplement, can it help manage cystic acne or lactoferrin?
It's so popular, the taking of zinc and lactoferrin, but I was looking last night. I actually studied to come in front of you guys, because I respect you so much.
Fantastic.
I read a very thorough review done by Amy Paller, a friend of mine from Chicago, and a very well-respected pediatric dermatologist, in the Women's Dermatological Society journal. And basically, in regards to those, what they were saying is that it's very popular, just like biotin was very popular for hair growth and all that, but there's really no good, substantive, and well-published papers on it. But, you correct me if I'm wrong. Show it to me next time I come up here.
So far, the studies aren't there.
Yes.
Actually, I wanted to also ask about silicones.
Yes.
Are they comedogenic? Yes and no. Depends on the silicone.
Depends on the silicone.
And the concentration.
Yes.
This came up last week with Hydropi asking the question. And in a nutshell, because she looked this up too, specifically, because it became such an interesting discussion with us, it depends on the silicone, it depends on the concentration, and it depends on the type of product.
Correct.
Right? So a silicone in a conditioner, for example, which can be extremely helpful and tends to evaporate quickly, probably is not an issue if it's the right kind of silicone. Okay? Another kind of silicone, can clog the pores. Right?
And in Europe, there are certain silicones that's not allowed at all.
Right.
Yeah. So
it really depends on
we'll
the silicone,
talk about that another
depends
time.
on the concentration. I want to talk about it today.
Okay.
Anyway, I have a question from Ekya. Pimple marks, that the pimples only last just a day or two, but the marks take forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Depends upon the skin type. Okay. So if you're really white skin, very little color to it, you probably won't develop the kinds of marks post-acne that I will develop. Post any inflammation of my skin, I'll develop a dark spot.
Yeah. Darker skin
Or a
tone.
red spot that remains for quite a while. It's really maddening. So a red spot will stay, or a dark mark, and the dark mark stays even longer and refuses to budge. This is a darker skinned type, so we Filipinos are brown skin, so but yet our brown skin goes all the way to white, as well as very dark, because of our indigenous heritage as well. So our skin type, when it darkens, is very different, because even the white among us will develop the red marks and the dark marks as well. Unlike the Irish, Scottish, that kind of Scandinavian white skin that disappears.
But basically, it's post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, which is why, to double down, it's better to prevent, right? Because yes, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation is a pain in the butt to get rid of, basically.
And then, of course, there are lots of procedures now that are available. Lasers,
some of them can worsen the hyperpigmentation, so you have to be careful what you go see a specialist, particularly for your skin tone.
Yeah, don't just go to a semi-clinic or whatever.
Yeah, for lasers, it's no joke, the hyperpigmentation problems, but that's why prevention is so important. And maybe, that's why add sunscreen to your anti-acne. I know you have to go. You're getting antsy, I can tell. It's actually our last minute, so we're going to rifle through our very last questions, and I will let you go. Why does my acne grow on the same place all the time? Probably because your skin is in contact with something that's causing the acne to be there. So again, talking with your dermatologist to really investigate what you're exposed to, that's key. Is zip mapping real? I've been seeing a lot of this on the internet, like if acne appears on the forehead, it's because of a liver issue. Oh, no. There's no clinical studies at all really on this. Who knows? Maybe in the future, but as of right now, there's no clinical studies that prove any of that is real. Better for acne, AHA or BHA? Alpha hydroxy or beta hydroxy?
Depends again.
It depends
on
what
what you're trying to do. Do you want to remove the comedones and all that? Maybe a beta hydroxy acid at first. If you want to use something that is really just a mild peel on the surface of the skin, an alpha hydroxy acid, and they come in different potencies as well. So glycolic acid is an alpha hydroxy, and it's very, very good. I love it.
Okay, I'll let you go soon. So I have one from Ariane. Hi, Ariane. If using VCO as a facial moisturizer, do I have to use a sunscreen after, even if I'm not going out?
I believe in daily moisturizer. I'll tell you why.
Even indoors?
Even indoors, because visible light has been proven in so many studies now to be a contributor to the pigmentation and even to photoaging of skin. We age every day, but you're pushing it to more if you don't use a visible light sunscreen indoors. And I even believe in layering together, light touch of the sunscreen put on.
Such a big fan. Yeah. Sunscreen, then makeup, then powder.
Yeah.
But yes, it has to be used indoors as well because of UVA coming through the window and indoor lights, visible lights and blue lights, which can cause hyperpigmentation.
Even the LEDs, unless you get the yellow. The yellow is a little bit better. They produce a little bit of redness, but no pigmentation. Whereas the blue lights, are visible lights.
So, last question, and then shout-outs, and we'll say goodbye. Revi's asking to know more about the link between diet and skin. I think we're going to be doing this as a topic because it's a long answer, but the quick answer now is avoid the pro-inflammatory foods, the white,
high carb,
the highly processed stuff,
dairy,
the junk food, and a nice shortcut that I tell everyone is look for the Mediterranean diet. Just replace olive oil for coconut oil as much as you can. And then we have such nice comments from Erica. Love your talks every Friday. Always enjoy watching you too. And from Gwen, love listening to you both. And yay, thank you so much. And on that note, I'm going to let her go, and I will then say goodbye. Thank you. Good morning.
I always enjoy these talks. Thank you. Let the questions come because it also churns my mind.
It helps actually in her research figure out, okay, what's happening, what needs to be talked about. So thank you.
Okay, Lau.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Mom.
Let me bring this.
Yes, bring your turmeric there. Oh, this is nice, huh? Turmeric, anti-inflammatory. Get organic turmeric, make it just slice it up, boil it, and strain it. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone with just quick reminders again about VMV stuff. Someone was asking about moisturizer for acne-prone skin. VCO is great, but this line does also have an oil-free moisturizer if that's what you prefer. And then in terms of acne and hyperpigmentation, right, dark scars, we have on vmvinskin.com, if you look for combining actives, just search for that. We have a nice article on our most popular regimens. For example, one combines ID, this line for various types of acne, right, with Illuminance, which is our lightning line, and Armada. So that might be helpful. And again, you can find all of this stuff on vmvhypoallergenics.com or .ph in the Philippines. A lot of the stuff we've been talking about, like the difference between comedogenic and acnegenic, can be found on vmvinskin.com. And specials that are happening in the Philippines is a skin calming bundle, which is good because we're all stressed from COVID, and stress leads to acne and whatnot. So it's a nice idea, and we're having a flash sale on lip glosses today until the 16th. And in the USA, we're giving away a nice mood lifting, really, really pretty pink lip gloss. So check that out. And a flash sale on Illuminance, that hyperpigmentation line I was talking about, for this weekend. For viewers in the Philippines, if you know anyone who has chronic spontaneous urticaria or hidradenitis suppurativa, they're really complex conditions that can be very tough to treat. So if you know anyone with them, drop us a DM. They will be screened to see if they can. Or send us a PM, and we will help customize recommendations for you based on your results and your history. And yeah, we will be doing live streams every Friday at 9 a.m. Manila, which is Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the States. And we'll be putting portions of replays on IGTV. And please comment and let us know if there's any other topic. Like, we got nutrition and skin, so that's awesome. That's coming. And if you'd like a teleconsultation with my mother or any dermatologist we work with, drop us a private message. We'll help make that happen. And don't forget to subscribe to our emails, subscribe to YouTube, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And if you'd like to chat with me about anything, I'm on Instagram at Laura@VMV. So thank you all so much, and have a great weekend, calm and soothing.